going to give you a full extensive breakdown on the new Lucid plan for daily payouts. This is one of the best plans that I've seen, and it's a plan that I'm going to be using a lot. Without further ado, let's get started with the breakdown here. So what you can instantly see is the daily evaluation does not have a cost. That's because you got to choose if you want end of day or intraday trailing drawdown, and if you want daily loss limit or not. Now, this is only for the actual evaluation stage, and it does not change anything in the funded. The funded is how the funded is, and that's it. You can't change it. It's going to be the hardest out of these options, but that's the rule, and there's a way to go about it. That's why I'm saying the intraday might eat you guys up. You guys are most likely used to accounts like the flex plan, where you need to make $3,000 without losing $2,000. Simple stuff. It updates at the end of the day. So if you're up 1,000 and then you get break even, it's as if nothing happened, right? The difference here is going to be that not only in the funded stage, but in some evals, if you're up 1,000 and it goes back down and breaks you even, say that you're up 1,000 at this peak, you're gonna have technically a loss of 1,000, right? And that's gonna go into your allowed drawdown. Now, this stops after 2,000, and that's why it's better to size heavy and get over that, maybe blow some accounts in the process, but it's a lot easier to get over that intraday trailing drawdown than if you're sizing a little bit more conservatively. Now, what are the differences here with the evals, right? You can have an evaluation that's going to be practically the same as what you have with the flex, but the most conservative and the most cheap way to pass these accounts is going to be with the intraday, and if you want, daily loss limit. But comparing the two, this one is already harder. It's going to be more expensive, but it has a lot more upside, because when you go ahead and try to take a payout out, there is going to be no limit, right? You can see that you can take daily payouts and there is no consistency in the funded. So if you make 5,000 in a day, you're able to take 3,000 out and still have a $2,000 buffer, which is amazing. If you go ahead and do something the same in the flex plan, then you're going to have to only take out half, but you're going to have 5 days of winning of not consecutive, but you need to have 5 winning days of $150, which is pretty easy. It's not that hard, but it is going to delay. You could have 5 days back to back to back to back with making $4,000, and you're making a lot more than you would with the flex. That's why I'm saying that it's a plan that's better for people that are a little bit more advanced. Now, let's go over pricing. This is where it changes a little bit. This is something that maybe you're not too used to, because if you want it to be the same as a flex eval, you could go ahead and do that, but it's going to be $135 with a coupon code. Use code LANDER at checkout to get the best coupons, but it's still going to be pretty expensive, right? I would say that if you want something like this, go with My Funded Futures. If I'm going to be honest, it's the same thing, but it's $10 cheaper. Now, if you want the most economic version, it's going to be $95 with coupons applied. It is going to be $40 cheaper, and in my opinion, it's what I am going to be running, and it's what I think is going to be easiest, because you can just full port, right? You're allowed to use 4 minis, find a good setup, and if you don't find much drawdown, even if you go into drawdown, you're allowed 1,200 in drawdown. Once you get past that, then start trailing aggressive, and that's how you're going to get over that, and that's how you're going to be able to pass these accounts very easily. It's a little bit more risky, so you need to have a little bit more experience. So when you see your A+ setup, you're able to size heavier. But if you don't have that experience and you still really want these accounts, you really like trading on TradeC, you can go with a cheaper alternative. It's not one or the other. I mean, you really shouldn't be losing more than 1,200 in a day unless you are entering multiple setups and you want to use the full allocation. Then I guess it's okay. but I wouldn't be risking more than 1,000 per day on an eval anyways. That's why this is honestly the best daily plan in my opinion. It's cheaper, it's the cheapest plan, it's the easiest to pass if you just size heavy, and you're only paying $95 to get daily payouts, right? You have 50% consistency rule, so you can pass it in 2 days, and you can choose a lot more things. So if you want something that's pretty conservative, $115, and you get a decent amount of drawdown per day, I would go with that plan. If you're kind of more beginner, if it's more, if you're not used to doing intraday, I would do this. But then again, you do have intraday in the funded, so I would just go ahead and assess it as you feel comfortable. If you do want intraday and no daily loss limit, it's the same price. But if you want the cheapest option, it's going to be $95 for a daily payout account, and that will be with intraday trailing drawdown and a daily loss limit. Like I said, if you just go ahead and full port these accounts, then you're good. I'm going to show you kind of how I would manage it. If I enter a position, I'm like, okay, this is my level here. Typically, I'll wait for absorption. I'll enter most likely at the top. Let's say I'm risking even 1,000, which is like, all right. If I'm full porting the account, I'm risking 1,000, which normally I'm risking less. But let's say that I'm risking 1,000. Once I start seeing price move lower and I'm up like 1,000, I'll move it to 500, right? And then once I'm up 1,500, move it to 1,000, or just obviously take profit. But once I'm getting close to that, move it to 1,000, and just go ahead and start trailing with this. But I'm in with 4 minis, right? If I went ahead and did the no daily loss limit, then yeah, you could have a bigger stop. But remember, if you are choosing the intraday, doesn't really matter, because if you get break even, you're still technically losing that. Let's say that the peak was 1,200, you're hitting your daily loss limit. So that's not good. I would just trail aggressively, and I would go for very heavy size in continuation plays more than anything. I would not try to get reversals at the very, very top unless you see very clear absorption and you understand, okay, this is most likely gonna reverse here, and you have a very tight stop. Other than that, look for continuations. You don't want to have much drawdown. In New York session, it's easy to make this much without having any drawdown, especially with 4 minis. So that's how I would go with it. Size very heavy. And if you want to have the cheapest option, I would go ahead and do this plan. But I think that overall, the most value for actually passing the accounts, if you're not used to this, I would go ahead and get something like this, where you do have a daily loss limit, but you don't have intraday trailing drawdown. So that's $115, very affordable and very forgiving. So yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown. If you are a beginner, get the flex plan. Of course, use code LANDER. If you're more of an intermediate to advanced trader, get the daily accounts. And then, of course, this was a breakdown, so it's really just up to you what you're used to and how much you want to spend. And that's a full breakdown. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this type of video, let me know in the comments. And also be sure to use code LANDER at checkout to be entered into the raffle that I am hosting. Check my Instagram for more details. And yeah,